Okay, I am back with the tarot portion of your weekly checkup. This is important because it does relate to the oracle message that I previously recorded. If you didn't watch it, check it out, or you can watch it after this one. Your call. But I may reference it while I'm explaining what's happening. This is the True Black Tarot, and I was stalking this deck while it was in creation, and I just knew I had to get it. I've oh, fingerprints on my card. It's like a velvety texture. These cards are very thick, and more difficult to shuffle. You can't just do them any old kind of way. The man really put a lot of time, energy, emphasis on quality. He is an artist, and these are his creations. Now, this Nine of Swords, when it's upright, it really does feel like being snared in a trap. And like it really takes a lot out of you, because when you're in the Nine of Swords energy, you are by yourself. It is ruminating thoughts. It is, did I just do that? I did. You're alone in that feeling, in that moment, in that suspension, as the pain starts to seep in, whatever is on your mind, as they start to take hold of you. It's like a engulfing feeling. Once you let one thought in, they invite more friends, and they start to run amok, and they become uncontrollable. Now you have no say. Now you have no ability to kick them out the front door that they came in, because they've opened all the windows, the back door, and let everything else in. Opening doors where you have skeletons, and those things are dancing in your living room, tearing up your stuff. Like it's chaotic, okay? When the thoughts run amok. And that's not blood here. These are rose petals. So it's like the sweetness that you have within you. Especially rabbits are considered very, even though they can be really they can be a handful, but for the most part, bunnies, rabbits, things like that, they're considered docile, or they're considered calm creatures. They really don't, they're herbivores. They really don't mess with people and mess with stuff, unless you have a garden. But they're pretty much harmless. They're not seen as a very powerful animal, but they're very swift. They're very quick. They're very instinctual. Now, their instinct is usually to run in a pattern, zigzag. They burrow. They also create very quickly, as far as procreation goes. So the ability to do so, to think quick on your feet, the instincts, the impulses that you may have, somehow, some way, it didn't work. It doesn't always work, but this is in the reverse, right? So the impulse that was taken, the decision that was made, the thought that was had, it did cause a sense of wounding to your core. But in this position, you can be released from it. This is like a magic trick that went wrong. And I know that sounds brutal, but it's like, not in a literal sense. Like, what would happen if a magician went and, put the swords through the box and it grazed the assistant's skin? There would be a sense of apprehension and fear attached to it, to not want to do that again, right? But also, sometimes that is a deterrent. these minute occurrences, these thoughts and stuff like that, it's thrown in your way, in your path, to see if you'll accept them or reject them, and combat them. Think in another direction. Can you tell your thoughts, that's not my thought, or that's not true to me, that's not true to who I am, or where I'm headed? Have you ever told your thoughts to take a hike? Have you ever, you know, said, screw this, let me get some peroxide out, let me get a band-aid, let me get some antibiotic ointment, some Neosporin, so this scar doesn't, last, so I can start letting it heal and fade it. I learned my lesson. This is an opportunity to do that. I just had to really emphasize on this Nine of Swords because of how it looks. Its appearance looks very damaging. But like I said, it's not actually bloodshed. It's just, these are rose petals. So it's trying to, this experience with these thoughts, or this pattern of thought, it's almost like, it's to almost kill your kind-heartedness. That's what it's trying to do. That's why we go through these things. There are forces. There are, as much as people want to be positive all the time, there are forces that are going to naturally combat that. And you would think, why would people do people like this? Or why would anybody choose to, be so heinous? Why would people create fraudulent accounts and try to get people to send them money and stuff like that? For every amount of good, there's an equal amount of not so good. It is a deterrent. Now, there's a choice to be made, and that choice will lead you either in the correct direction or in the other direction that feels like this. Like, damn, I got God. This isn't the Ten of Swords, but it feels like it to me. So with it in the reverse, I really feel like you're not having to go to the Ten of Swords. I think the Nine of Swords was the pinnacle of the pain, if you allow it. But the Ten of Pentacles is here, and it's in the reverse. So it's almost connected to your core values, because this hits you to the core. This thought or these thoughts, or you're moving out of this energy, but it relates to your security. It relates to familiar and the familial line. You share karma with certain people based on who you were born of, your lineage, but also there are different groups out here. Like, you may not know somebody who lives the next state over, but their experience damn near mirrors yours. You know what I mean? Or you may meet somebody and their background or their upbringing is so freaking similar. You would think like, man, like we almost live the same life. So you can have familial and familiar ties when it comes to wounding and pain. But it's necessary, because that's where the power is. There's somebody who needs to know how to get through something specific. You may be put in that person's path, or they may be put in yours. And the connections are usually instantaneous. So even if you've known a person for a long time, you could connect with them one day, or see them, or, have a conversation and be like, wow, I didn't know that we were that kindred. I didn't know that we were that similar. I didn't know, it's an alignment, right? That's what I'm getting here with this Ten of Pentacles. There's a sense of I do want to say ascension. It's a possibility too. But I think this is bringing up family wounds. This is bringing up upbringing things. Um, that's a 10 I'm seeing here. Nature versus nurture is coming to mind as well. Family could be a sore spot. Upbringing could be a sore spot. Patterns in families could be a sore spot. I shit you not. I just found out that my grandfather had other kids, and one of those aunts reached out to me. In my 3 decades, no one mentioned these names of these women. This is a twin set of girls, ladies, that are of my family. But also, my dad did the same thing. To be honest, told me in my, late 20s when I was approaching my Saturn return that I had siblings. And I didn't know, but I always had a sense of missing something, missing someone, and I couldn't fathom, I couldn't put my finger on it. But also, this could be parentage. You could be missing a parent. You could be missing the feeling of being parented. Like maybe it wasn't there, or maybe not in the way that you think for yourself that a parent should be. But there's opportunity to release that, to get over that, you know? Because I feel that if anything approaches this 10 of Pentacles while it's in reverse, that elephant would stomp it. Like, you ever seen the cartoons where there's a mouse running around and the elephant's like scattering, trying to run away from it or step on it, or, this is like that rat or that mouse, or, approaching this elephant. This 9 of Swords, it will keep a frantic energy going if you let it. So luckily, this 10 of Pentacles has its back turned in this position to this here. That puts you in a state of moving forward. It's like, I felt the pain, I thought the thoughts, I know what I think about the situation and what I feel about the situation. Now let me handle the situation, or let me look closer at the situation. These coins here are lit. They're lighter. These coins here, they're on the darker scale. So these are things that are left unseen or haven't had light shine on them. They're not radiating. The top portion is what you may already know about your family, or what you already have discovered. And then these are little tidbits of information that change the dynamic of what family, what home, what legacy can mean. So truth may be coming out, or have already, and you may already be in a different position. But some people are here, some people are here, some people are here. The 7 of Pentacles. This is like a contract of sorts, almost like an invoice. Like you're getting equal amount of reciprocity and bounty for what you've actually done. You're receiving this. And if you're not in a position to recognize it, you can miss out on your recognition, on your rewards, on your completion of contractual things, or with every cycle of karma or every experience, there is steps to completion. And some may only have 2 steps, some may have 10, some may have 20. Like, and they're all linked to one specific piece of work, piece of karma. And it's like, okay, all these things are being checked off as you're doing them or going through them. And it's paying you in accordance to, it's going to pay you in the end in accordance to how you handle the situation. You have high earning potential, you know, or you could squander, the decisions and the choices and the actions that you take could bring less of a yield, if that makes sense. Okay. But it's already been signed. It's already been paid out. You may have to wait 3 to 5 days for processing. I'm getting that kind of thing. It could be very literal. But it could also be, like I said, it could be figurative. Like the karma is complete. We just had the eclipse. Cycles could have been cut off, completed, but you're just waiting for that final confirmation, that final letter of oh hey, it's done, it's over. Like this is the last piece of official correspondence about this thing, whether it be a person, place, or thing. This is resolution. This is taking your yield to the market and seeing how much you're going to get for it, or taking your stuff to the pawn shop and seeing what it's worth, or an appraiser, anything like that. So it's really, there is an appraisal, there is a recognition, there is a weighing up, quite literally, in this card. And those boxes are checked. Everything is being notated. Like nothing that you're doing is for no reason, and it's not in vain. It's either going to help you grow and flourish, or you're going to have to try again next season. Whatever, in seasons, they vary between people. You could have a bout or a drought of some sort in a specific area of your life, and all of a sudden there is a turn of events and you get a windfall. Do you get me? Do you follow? So just be on the lookout for results from the work that you've been putting in, because it's time. It's a season for payout, for better or for worse. But I feel that it brings resolution. This is the King of Swords. And again, all of these cards are heading in this direction. So the King of Swords is almost assessing like where they've come from. There's a certain level of mental mastery that's happening here. Once you pass the Nine of Swords, I feel like if you don't learn what you need to learn from it, like in this reverse position, if it stays upright, you're going to the 10. This is a precursor. So luckily the 10 that followed was the 10 of Pentacles. So it wasn't all of you. There were things that were out of your control that relate to the familiar and the familial. So if you go take a look at the Oracle card reading, you'll see where I spoke on patterns, learned things from families that were already written, or a way of teaching that was passed down, or a way of doing things that was passed down. The way that a family operates could be unhealthy, and no one sees it but a person who has taken the most blows. So bringing recognition to it, or trying to shine light on things that are murky or uncertain or kept out of the view of others that it relates to, this could be what you're here tasked to do. And this King of Swords is saying, for some reason, a very deliberate reason, you were the one chosen, because only you could have gotten out of this position in this way, in this manner. It seems like no one else stepped up to the task, or no one else was tasked with this particular type of duty when it comes to family, when it comes to family line, familiar things, friend groups. It could even be job contracts, or anything like that. It could be you having to uncover something or to bring something to light, and it's beneficial to your growth, to your journey specifically, but also to another level of mental, it's like an upgrade to your operating system. So now your capacity, your capability to handle certain things, your upgrades, I mean, they really do show here. But I do see this is jarring to me. Now he has a hole in the center of his chest. No doubt, the rabbit. So this is a battle scar that this person has taken with them, but they're holding the sword that did it. They're now yielding it and wielding it as a form of protection. They're able to use it now because they have the intelligence, the emotional intelligence. Even though we're talking about swords, this is an emotional. Those red petals, emotional intelligence to actually handle it. But I don't quite. I don't know. Is that a coin? It almost looks like a coin. Like they gained something, even though it looks hollow. They gained a gem here. They gained something very, very lucrative internally from being able to use their vice as a virtue or their pain as a power. Eight of Wands. More letters, more messages. Okay. And the way that this one looks, it almost looks like it has wings. Like it's, these things, these are taking flight. But it hits its mark. Whatever it is, this message that comes through or this communication that is had in a situation, this looks like pattern to me. This is a pattern. Even if it's a situation that doesn't relate to your family, the way that it transpired does. The way that it turned out that would influence this Nine of Swords to even emerge comes from a family trait, a family pattern. And you're having to see, really see, was it of use to you? Was everything that you were already taught or everything that was already embedded in your DNA that influenced this? Is it worth it? Is it worth your investment? Is it worth you continuing to be in that manner? Because here's a new coin. You have an opportunity to grow things elsewhere. King of Swords with the hole in his chest. Here's a coin there. He's taking it with him. Extract what you can from that yield and plant new seeds. Eight of Wands. The opportunity to do so is here. But you have to, and I'm going to show this Hierophant, and then I'm going to show the Knight of Swords that comes after. This is the way things have always been done. This is the way they go. This is the way we do them. We're Baptist, Methodist, Catholic, Muslim, Buddha, Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, whatever it may be. It could just be a culture thing. Our culture does this. Men do this. All men do this. The type of man I am, where I come from, this is how we do things. Women too. It could be a cultural thing. It could be old, some people are old fashioned. The man is the provider. The woman is the nurturer. And there's no, this guideline has interfered. This card doesn't always mean, sometimes it is a teacher. Sometimes it's a mentor. But I think you can still look at it as a mentor of what doesn't work for you. It was something that was followed, but having tried it and it didn't work, you can now look at it as something to question, something to assess for yourself. Knight of Swords, with the protection of what you've already experienced. Now you have discernment. This is discernment because you're questioning everything. Taking flight and lighting shit up. It's going to be put in the hot seat. Everything has to be assessed at this point. And assessed is right. Look at that. That is beautiful. Not only do you get your flowers, they're no longer red. Those petals that are gone, they're gone. And that red shows me there's a lot of passion behind the pain. Okay? But look at these. These roses are gold. Have you ever seen something so freaking beautiful? And the crown, it was like crowning glory. The truth itself is the crowning glory. Ooh, get my little fingerprints all on these cards. This is immense. It just reiterates what I was saying with that I just made another connection. Okay. I don't know why I thought that said true right there. But I like this a lot. And in this deck, all the swords, all of his swords cards are actually representation of swords that come from different eras and different cultures. So like there's the katana, there's all kind of like sultan swords and different types of swords. So it's really beautiful to see this, and the workmanship. I don't know if that's the word I'm trying to use, but I like that a lot. And we have the Death card in reverse. It didn't kill you, but it made you stronger. All those symbols, I forgot what they say, what they mean. I can look it up, but this is a really lengthy reading already. There's the key, and usually the Hierophant's holding the key. The key itself was for you to transcend and go through. Look at this, the beast, and this person holding a sword. Like, actually going through the situation. You've gone past the point of death with that situation. Like, you've walked through the doors. It's like walking up, and then if you don't complete, the door won't open. And you can't complete the cycle. And then you walk up. If you've completed it correctly, all the little writing on the wall lights up, and you're able to enter because you now have the key. That's what I was getting with that. Very clear, definitive, like it's been dealt with. You won't have to go through it again. So at the bottom of the deck, I had gotten the Seven of Swords. And I was talking about the mouse and the elephant. Creeps in like, it's up to no good. Like it's a chaos agent. The Seven of Swords can be. You know what I mean? That is some really good handiwork. That's what I was looking for, the word handiwork. These are cutting through. This is a cloth. This is like a curtain. Like when they find out the Wizard of Oz is, not a wizard, and they really uncloak and see through. That's that type of energy. That makes this Five of Swords so much more lit. All these other swords around are breaking down. They're not of the same quality. Truth prevails. Again, our sword here is highlighted. And that brings a sense of balance and temperance. And she's got swords behind her as well. So this would align with this death energy. Oh my gosh, these cards are fucking amazing. I'm pulling these from the bottom of the deck, mind you. So this is, first came out was the Queen of Swords. She has a sense of balance about her too. Her hand is leaking. That went through her palm. So this is the part, I feel, this is the part of you, along with the king, that, you know, has the hole in his heart. She's freaking sitting here with a sword through her hand. They have similar wounds in different places. Somebody hurt his heart, like to the core of him. And this has had to do with family. And then this person could have been hurt at the hands of someone else. But they're looking in two separate directions. Unless let me focus. Focus. Oh, my nails. Goodness. I'm sorry, y'all. Unless this person can see that although her hands were tied in a situation, or she was hurt at the hands of someone else, she still has another hand. His hands are not outstretched. She has a hand that's extended towards his direction. His is cemented into the ground. So while she's weightless and she's floating, pain or no pain, he is rooted. Even though he can use that sword, powerful sword, powerful truth, turning the pain into power, but it's stationed. It's immobile. It's not being used. Can't even see his face, like not showing his true face. His curtain is being, oh, I get it. These cards speak to me in a different way. So these readings do tend to be longer. And I got away from using them because I know how I see. There's a lot of fear. He has a lot of fear. This King of Swords energy does. I didn't see it as a relationship reading at first until I started to pull those cards underneath. I take that back. I did see it, but in a different way, and I'll show you what I mean. His cape is being torn through. If he cannot pull that sword, that truth, he will be back in this position. Okay. So to Queen of Swords, next came out was the High Priestess. Very, very perceptive energy, but guess what? Another key. So this pairing is not for no reason. The Pit and the Pendulum is what comes to mind by Edgar Allan Poe. It took intuition to get that man out of the Spanish Inquisition. He was put in the pit, and he really had to think. And there were mice in that story. And he had to use the resources to allow the mice to eat away at the straps that were holding him down. Otherwise, he would have been cut in half by the pendulum that was swinging above him. Very graphic, you know. Edgar Allan Poe was on a Scorpio side of things, even though he was a Virgo. But that just shows me that I do have that sense that Virgos are, our planet is actually behind Pluto's, and that's a whole nother, I can't Google anything about that. That's just something I know. It's far darker The other side of Virgo nature is far darker than even Scorpio can imagine. And that's saying a whole hell of a lot. But that intuition is what got that person out of the situation. And here we have strength. I do feel that this is a companion energy. Look at those swords in the back. Look at those axes and those spears. And this particular snake has been, they're being themselves, right? Not bothering anybody, just doing their own thing. And because this person has this appearance or is perceived to be a threat, other people have been attacking it. It's been struck many times. Okay? This energy, which I think is this High Priestess, Queen of Swords energy, is grabbing those, like bringing beauty to the situation, healing, health. You do have this wheat here. So this is what I'm saying, where help can come in, or assessment. This person is able to be receptive of it. Receptive of what's happening and step in on this person's behalf on a spiritual level. And that could be why the King and Queen of Swords are here. Because the type of pain, they both have an emotional intelligence about pain and a specific type of pain. And I do feel it's familial and familiar. So she would be equipped to step in. This could even be the Queen of Swords trying to stop what's coming in and actually getting stabbed in the hand, trying to do so. Having taken a wound in defense of someone else. This wasn't self-imposed. This was by the hands of someone else. But holding this wheat in the other hand, she has something to give. On the other side of pain, there is power. That message is still reiterating. You know what I mean? And this just shows it. I love this card so much because my daughter too, she is a Sagittarius. So to have this sense of balance here and reiterated in the hands, how the hands are different colors, just that red, that fiery red coming out. That's beautiful. So the outcome, I was looking for one card and out came 3. We had the Emperor that came out first, the 2 of Cups, and the 6 of Pentacles. Now he's in a position to notate, and there's a construction happening, a building energy. This is almost like a tower. So all the experiences that have been going on, if they would have taken a page from the Hierophant's book, they would be building someone else's dream, someone else's tower, someone else's, structure. That is not a steady structure. If you put that on the ground, that does not have a good sense of, like a good center of gravity. On top of someone else's, figure, yeah. But if the Emperor were to build that, even what's above his head would fit more aligned and more structured more soundly. Look at that resonance around his head. Oh, he's got the Dub C braids on his chin. I didn't even see that. Dub C, West Side Connection. For those who listen to 90s rap, LA music, West Coast music. He's structuring a plan. This could be budgeting as well, receipts. But he's using his everything that he's writing is helping build structure. The architecture of this is amazing. Like, there's a lot happening here with this emperor. I like to see him like this. I've never seen the emperor so active. I really like this card. He's keeping it all in place. But at the same time, he's not resting on his laurels. He's actually doing something. He's actually, writing his own script, implementing his own laws, the way his lifestyle will be, the way he wants his life. He's constructing. Two of Cups. You see this broken arrow here? They're two parts of the same arrow. And we had already seen the arrows being thrown. And, they could have been past lovers. It could have been past friends, family members. But those wounds to that snake and that strength card, that she's holding them. And they are kindred. They are very much kindred. Two halves of a whole, but two whole parts. They both have water. It's not like, I have no water, I have to give you mine, and, now I don't have any. They both have emotional availability. There's a lot more room to grow. These cups are not overflowing, but the more that they interact, the more water will fill these cups. They're responsible for their own cups being filled. They have to sustain a certain amount of fluid, a certain amount of liquid, a certain amount of water, emotion, in order to survive. So even though the King of Swords seemingly has a hole in his heart, these cups they're not broken. They're not broken. It may be an experience that makes a person feel as if they are hollow, but they need a refill. They need to figure out what for them fills their cup. Because if one person's hydrated and another person's super thirsty, that's not a good connection. Just talking on a mundane surface level. Or, if a person does have plenty and another person does not have much, there's a sense of the person who has plenty and who is, perfectly okay with what they have, almost feeling a sense of like their stuff dwindling because they see it receding very quickly. You know what I mean? Like, I need to task. Everything has a purpose. Everything has a use. So if we use it up too prematurely, or a person who is fearful of, who doesn't have much, or sees me with so much, uses up what I have, then I won't have anything left. So there's a good sense here of knowing what you have and what you have to give, but also knowing that you're still in a position to receive. Six of Pentacles. There is, this is highlighted on the surface, and this, again, they're underneath. They're connected to the root. Nobody sees this aspect. They only see this. So it's like, with everything that was written, from the Seven of Pentacles card to the Emperor, like all the work that was put in, nobody sees the groundwork. Nobody sees what really went into this. Nobody understands why you're receiving all these accolades, but they didn't see this. They didn't see this struggle. They didn't see how long it took to grow this. They just see the presentation. They really don't understand fully why you're in a position to do what you do and give what you give, or present yourself the way that you're presenting yourself. They do not know the details. They don't have the groundwork. But as much work that you did behind the scenes, you're now showing above the surface. You know what I mean? And there's much to see here. They're like, okay, well, if this is what they're sharing, what are they withholding, or what have I not seen? And it could be questioning. It could be questioning. Again, this Seven of Swords and the King of Swords is coming up to me right now. It's really, really making me think, like, a person being doubtful or being Nine of Swords, following the pattern. They need to align with truth. So this is asking a person with this kind of energy, this King of Swords energy, to align with truth. Why? Because what popped out first was the Chariot and the Devil. And these are oscillating natures. These are Cancer and Capricorn. They are opposites. Again, this is a choice. You can feel like you're stuck doing it the way that it was done, or that it's a tradition, or this is the way the culture works. This is the way that religion works. This is the way women do things. This is the way men do things. This is the way people in their 30s act. This is the way people in their teens act. This is the way people in their 60s act. You can keep those old beliefs and those old traditions, assumptions, superstitions, or whatever, but they didn't actually evolve with the time. They didn't assimilate to all the changes. So if you're still operating on an old operating system, you won't have access to the new things coming in. You know, if you still haven't upgraded, certain things won't be compatible with your operating system, and you will be stuck with the bare minimum. And the bare minimum is not pleasant. Not just because it's the minimum, is because it's not quality. So you get your upgrade and you get acclimated to the new system, and you have more access and more freedom to move where you need to go and do what you need to do, handle what you need to handle. Chariot doesn't even have reins. He's not holding on to those sphinxes. All he has to do is have a thought, and that chariot starts moving in that direction. Here, there is no sense of movement. It's stuck together. This dissolves whatever these thoughts, whatever these patterns, or whatever. It dissolves it, and now it has a sense of freedom to ebb, to flow, to go, to come. It really does put a person back near community, but it still keeps them set apart. They can come, they can go, they can be a part of it. They don't have to feel stuck to a certain way of being, or a certain way of doing things. It doesn't mean that they're abandoning their beliefs. It means that they're coming into understanding why they believe what they believe, or if the beliefs that they were given are for them. Do I feel this way? Do I believe in this thing? Do I act like that? I mean, is it because I just act like that, or is it because this is what was expected of me, or this is what I was taught? King of Pentacles, with that hole in his chest, is no longer stuck and stagnant. The coin is now an opportunity. It's being held out for him to take it. That sword is no longer in the ground. He's yielding it. He's yielding and wielding. Yield is something else. I keep saying yielding, but I mean wielding the sword. He's holding it. It's very much open for him to use now. And the butterflies. He got butterflies. have butterflies. But also, that's truth. Those two birds up there, these two fish. It could also be the high priestess. And where is she? Hiding her pretty self. The two. Where is it two? It doesn't say two. It just says high priestess. But this is the vibration. And those two birds. Pit and a pendulum. Having to instinctively, intuitively act. Broadening the instincts. There's a clearing here. These clouds are not tumultuous. They're what, cumulus? They're not stratus. They're not erratic. They're not storm clouds. It's a nice day. The storm is clear. The storm is past. And we were talking about growing things and yields and crops and different things like that. There's much to grow. There's much to grow here, but also much to protect. So, at the bottom of the deck, we have the Empress, and we have the Empress. Those cards underneath, they are not playing at all. The Empress. This could have been a part of her wounds. Even though these are positive cards, maybe the Empress had to develop a different type of sense than the King of Swords. But very similar, but in a different context. Familial with that 10 there in the stone. It's almost like it reminds me of like a family crest that you would see on the 10 of Pentacles. Again, a familial energy with this 4 of Wands. This is a welcoming. This is this could be siblings. This could be old friends or something like that. There's something about it that it wasn't as, it's rose-colored glasses to me. Like this person, I don't feel is actually in. They're kind of in this energy. I really feel like it's old-fashioned. Like this nostalgia is outdated. It's outdated, and it's attempting to recreate a community or recreate a sense of knowing that is no longer relevant to the time we're in. So this World card, which the Devil and the World, they pretty much cancel each other out. They're of the same astrological and like influence. The pain, the power. Okay, so this has come full circle. You have those governors looking out. They're taking notice of what's really happening. Like I said, that there comes a finality. Everything is being weighed up. What has transpired, what you've gone through, how you handled it, and those things. Making a list, checking it twice. And I'm only getting that because with the World card and the Devil, that puts us in the winter time in the northern hemisphere. And you're receiving, you're a recipient based on how you've handled the situation. And here comes in the Empress. So no matter if you are on the side of the King of Swords or the Queen of Swords or the Emperor or the Empress, you can be both of them actually. There could be different types of, there could be emotional wounds and mental wounds that things that people have said or the lack of communication. Those could have been wounds. Those could have been weapons used against you. The way that you feel, the way that you express your feelings and emotions could have been ridiculed or taken advantage of. Those could be wounds. There's different levels of wounding. There's different, severity or degrees. Like burns have, degrees. First degree, second degree, third degree. They can, certain things can be more severe than others, but in the eyes of the universe, it's an action. It's just an action, an equal and opposite action or a reaction. So that's what that Seven of Pentacles is about. In accordance to what is given is received. Okay? So I hope you can take away something from this. Again, it was pretty lengthy, but these are some very, very, very detailed cards. They speak to me in a completely different way than any other tarot deck I have. And I'm glad I was able to share them today. It was a last minute decision that kind of called me. So that's all I have. I will see you guys later.